Transcendental is asking, how can we interact with our guides, and how do we actually know that if a sign or message comes? And is there a way to have a conversation? Okay, communicating and interacting with our guides. Great topic, great question. I'm gonna turn on the lights. We're gonna have better visuals. There we go. More color, yay. That's dark. Okay, interacting with our guides, huh? My first go-to thing is trying to connect with the essence of the being you want to connect to. Meaning, let's say you have a guide, right? You want to have an assumption of what that guide is. Animal guide. Right, a wolf. How intelligent is that wolf? Is it just a wolf, like a dog? Give it a command and stuff, and it's just like, it's just there? Or is that wolf communicating telepathically and it's actually intelligent and sentient and it's actually a being who have had a lot of lifetimes that is now choosing to have the body of a wolf and is there to help you out? For example, is it someone from your lineage that has passed away? Maybe primitive guy, boonga boonga boonga, and you're gonna ask like, how can I get out of Matrix? Booga booga booga. Well, you don't want that kind of answer from the primitive version, right? So it's like, well, I don't want to talk to that ancestor of mine. How about something closer? Someone, in your family that had more knowledge. What kind of knowledge do you need? And let's say you have a professional football player that has passed a few years ago and you want it as a guide, but you're like, so my professional football player that has never done too much in life, but just focusing on football and constantly training and, lived a decent life, fucking a lot of women, for maybe. So, how do I write a song? Two completely different subjects. That guy will have no information for you because it's not a thing in this world. And then we have, let's say, guys that, let's say you want someone who would be an extraterrestrial, really intelligent. Maybe from a group that you read about and you connect with. Kind of like, oh, I like this group. Do I have someone I know from them and can they be my guides? Just because I read a story and I like them. So we have to look at variations of who do you want as a guide, because you can choose at any point in time, you can choose who do you want as a guide. But if it's just in general, how do I talk to my guides? If you have a primitive guy guiding you, unga boonga, let's get a mammoth and kill it, and you're like, no, I want to play guitar. And unga boonga, why are you playing guitar? It's not gonna work. So think of a specific being that you would like to connect with. What kind of information would you like to get? What kind of personality and experience does that being needs to have so that it would be able to provide you with help? So now you're looking at someone who has knowledge about Matrix, dissertation on Earth, some techniques on healing yourself, self-betterment, dealing with entities. Now you're having like really detailed list of a being you want to connect with. Because with a lot of things you've mentioned, let's say, of the knowledge and the aspects and stuff, is this being kind? Or is it actually very egotistical and narcissistic? Is it the Jewish type of, I'll give in advice, but how about some money? Or more like, honey, I'll tell you things, but how about we have fun tonight? You want a specific personality, a set of knowledge, an identity, an experience, and then the essence. How would they make you feel if you were around them? Finally, someone that understands me, my soul family, someone that I can communicate with, someone that is here to support me, is interested in my well-being, is interested in me achieving my best, or maybe wants me to get out of here as well, knows the issues that I'm encountering and knows how to deal with them. So now you identified who do you want to connect with specifically, because the doggy and Unga Boonga guy didn't really work. So now you have a specific identity, you have a being that, like, okay, maybe a certain race, maybe a certain look. Does looks really matter? Not really. But what you want from them is the experience, the information, and understanding and connection, and so that they would fit your values and goals and what you need. So they would satisfy your needs. When you have a specific idea of the being, you think of their essence. Like, how would they make you feel being around them, talking to them, communicating with them? If you've maybe had past lives and you were best buddies, or was it teacher student, was it best friends, was it family? What kind of status do you have? Because that being will help, that being will hear what kind of relationship do you feel like you have. For example, you just set those ideas as, let's say, frame for your work. So now you've had everything done. How do you connect with them? A lot of variations. Just like with meditation, there is no one right way. The way I like to do it, and there's tons of others, so feel free to catch my drift and then make up your own version. Just, like, fit it to your own standards. I like to do it like, I close my eyes, for example, sometimes, and I imagine a world, a realm, or just a scenery that is outside of this duality, not connected to anything physical, not connected to my beliefs, not connected to archons or anything. It's just like a little set. Like, for example, Neo and Morpheus meet up near that chair and the TV screen. It's just a scene, but it's their own personal space, their own room where they can talk. So you create your own scene where it's comfortable. Maybe there's gonna be a campfire. Maybe it's gonna be a forest. Maybe it's gonna be a lake. Maybe it's just your own little house, a garden, a park. Just a setting that you feel really comfortable in, and you set the rule that it's outside of duality, no other beings will be there. It's just my realm where I will invite this being. When you imagine it, and if you have zero visual skills, think of writing a book, a paragraph. Well, here I was in my room, sitting around, and I looked at the wall and there was a clock. You can write the details. You can look around on the Google, see images and sort of describe stuff. So yes, you can create stuff. You can imagine. You can think of the idea and it's going to be there. You can manifest it. So you think of it, visualize it, your variations, setting. Once you have an idea, once you have the set of rules, once you have the frame for the being, then you connect to that essence. Because for some people who will not be able to see that person, that guide come into your space, you will be able to feel. If you ever, let's say, hugged a dog or had a person who was close to you or had a best buddy, they leave you with a certain experience that you will know them anywhere. Because that there was this one experience that stood out that left you with a certain emotion and the feeling state. They made you feel loved, understood, cared about. There was this cherished moment with an emotion created that it's just you and that being, and you identify as that. If you've never met that being, but it's a guide, and you think of like, well, in my past lives we might have had a connection with, and that being, I would like it to care for me. And the care would feel like, and you just imagine, make it up, act as if. And you connect the essence of how you would like them to make you feel. And it's exactly that feeling state, right? So you try to get into it, feel it. Like, even close your eyes for a moment right now. Take a few deep breaths. And think of something good that has happened to you. After a long time of suffering and going through hell, that one good thing that really left you with, it's actually worth living. I actually like this place. I feel good. I feel loved. I feel cared about. There's a certain feeling state that they create that you can tune into and have yourself feel. It's like an exercise, right? So you're breathing, you're creating the scenery, you're connecting to that feeling state, you know what kind of being you want to connect with, and then invite them. Hey, I might not know your name, might not know how you look like, might not even see you, but this feeling state, I know you can guide me. I know we've had connections in past lives. Could you please come here into this created setting and be here with me? and you feel this flood of certain feelings and emotion, something that you focused on, that you want to create, feel, now it's like on steroids. This warmth and heat comes to you, this real relaxation, and there's this change in how you feel. And yeah, it could be just body chemistry reacting, like, yeah, you're breathing, good for you, you're relaxed, lower cortisol, doesn't matter. But you allow that feeling state that's just like flooding in and becoming more powerful. You allowed it to come into your space. Now you've connected. You might not see them. For those that have visuals, great. For those that don't, go with the feeling state. Let it be there. Get into it. Feel it. And then ask the question that you would like to ask. Hey, from your perspective, what is it that I should know? From your perspective, what is it that I should remember? Hey, look, I have this issue in my life, and I'm trying to solve it, and I don't know what to do. Can you give me advice on it? And you ask your questions. And in that state, your create scenery, the being you connect with, the frames, you've set up everything. Step by step, you've done everything. And now you ask the question. How do you get the answer? For some people, they're like, okay, well, what is it I should know? Quiet, nothing. And you're just in that emotion. You've just asked the question. And this weird pops comes up. Everything's going to be fine. Did you think that thought? Yeah, everything's going to be fine. Still trying to communicate? Or was that actually the message? You should know that everything's going to be fine. Whatever you're going through, all this crap in the background that you're not even thinking about currently, the message was, everything's going to be fine. Let it go. Don't worry about it. But it was just an idea I thought is mine. Does not matter. Where it came from, what happened, what was said, you've got the answer. Do not question it, because every first thing you get, allow it to be there. Write it down maybe if you want to. Well, okay, well, what is it that I should remember? That you're powerful and you can manifest anything. This is me connecting with whoever I just connected with, right? So yeah, I can manifest anything. I should remember that. Because like, I doubt myself. I focus on this world too much. I focus on other issues, but whatever I've just heard, I might be focused so much on this video and not even look at stuff, but I've actually connected to the essence, right? I've asked the question, and the thought, the feeling stuff just comes in, and I allow it to be. Yeah, it's good. The answer might be short, but when you connect to a specific being, and you might have more specific questions. Maybe you're going through a rough time in your life and you need to make a decision, and you need advice specifically on that. So communicate it. Ask that question. And for some of you, a thought will come. For some of you, the feeling state will come. For some of you, you will hear the answer. For some of you, you can do that ghostwriting. You have a piece of paper and a pen, ask a question, whatever comes in, starts writing. They're there. For some of you are like, well, I need the answer, but, and then you create your limiting, I don't hear it, I don't see it, I don't have any thoughts coming in, no inspiration, no nothing that the Kabbalah mentioned. What the hell? How do I communicate? How do I get that answer? How do I get that response from them? Now, you have to create a set of rules how you want to receive the answer. Because while I and my beliefs might be open that it's just going to be an idea popping up, because this being is telepathic, so whatever they say, I will not hear it, but it's just going to feel like a thought in my head. And yeah, I've perceived it. It's like listening to a radio. I've asked the question, transmitted it, and now I got it back, a response. That's it. This is it. This is how I go with it. But if you have a different set of beliefs that you don't hear, you don't see, you don't get response, you have to open up a door. If you don't get a response, how do you want to get the answer? Are you going to open up the book and read a sentence that's going to give the answer exactly to your question? Are you going to be walking in the street and some stranger will say a phrase that it was exactly what you needed to hear? Will it be a certain number in the sky and one bird is yes and two birds means no? You set the rules of how you want to receive the answer, because these beings, they will always try to communicate with you and give you their best, specifically the ones that you've set, like, okay, this is exactly who I want to communicate with. They will talk to you. They will try to communicate. It is up to you how you decide to perceive it and get the information back. So a lot of us, have a set of beliefs might be limiting and closing the door and creating this blockage. But some of you might be like, when I write, I create. The being that connected with you get hurt. When you write, you create. Okay, whenever you write next time, I will give information. But if you don't sit down and write, and you do it in the like 3 months later, and you just like, I feel like writing, and all of a sudden this massive information, the flood just comes in, and you just keep on writing all day long. Why have you been waiting so long? Because you never thought that your basic idea for creation and getting the expression of self will actually be getting the answer. But if you know that your outlet, the way you get information, will help you to create, they know that you will only see that answer whenever you write, whenever you create. So you have to sit down and do something. So if you're like, I'm not hearing stuff, I'm not seeing stuff, I'm not going to write, how do I get an answer? Maybe it's going to be true drawing, but you have to choose an outlet of self, for example, for creation, so that that being could talk to you in those ways. Or maybe something around it that you can perceive and hear or read, and like, something that will trigger that understanding. Because they will give you the message, but it is up to you how you will perceive it and stuff. So how do you know if there's a sign that the message comes? You set the rules for yourself. When I communicate with my guides, they communicate with me telepathically, and whatever they're saying, it might appear as my thoughts. It's not going to be a loud voice, because if I'm sitting in a quiet room and there's people like next to me, but everyone's been quiet for a while, like people are asleep, and here I am drinking my water, communicate with my guide. Oh, what the fuck? Because the guy just talked to you out loud because you were expecting it. You just created that state that, oh, they will talk to me out loud. And you got scared the shit out of yourself. And this being is like, oh, shit, I didn't mean to. Sorry, buddy. Okay, communication out loud does not work. Scared him. How else do you want to receive information? He thinks I'm an entity. Oh, no. Just close the door for communication. Oh, no. It's all up to you. How you perceive stuff, how you open the door for that. You're doing it all. So if you said the rules that, yeah, okay, I would like them to communicate out loud, but now you create a possibility that you will be scared. And if you hear a voice, hey, Arnie, Jimmy, Eric, Sarah, Kim, they call out your name, and you might feel like it's an entity because you can't identify shit, you're not seeing stuff. You might feel like, I'm possessed, what the fuck? Well, you don't want that stuff happening, do you? If you're in a street, if you're in a coffee shop, if you're talking to your friend, and all of a sudden, hey, Rich, you hear this voice, but no one's talking to you currently, you're like, what the fuck, am I going crazy? Not my earbuds, no. You have to be careful of how you set the rules, because you might scare yourself. It's like people, I want to be pulled out of body, and they fall asleep, and they feel like something's pulling on their body. What the fuck? And they shake their legs, and they're like waking up and getting scared the hell. And it was an entity. They've tried to abduct me. Ah! No. You just asked to be pulled out of body. A being came to pull you out of body, and you woke up. You got the scared. You scared the shit out of yourself, and now you don't want to fall asleep again because you assume that they're bad guys and they're gonna abduct you. So you close the door. I don't want to be pulled out. No, 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 no. I don't want to create that stuff. So let's be specific. When we want to manifest stuff, let's set the rules of how we want to receive information. If you're afraid of, oh, if I have a thought, I will think it's my own thought. Oh, if I hear a voice, I will think it's an entity. Oh, if this happens, then you've just closed up so many doors for communication and getting the message that, okay, well, how can this being get through you? And how would you like to receive information? Can you be clear so they wouldn't scare you and do stuff to you? Well, reading book works. Okay, read the fucking book, because the answer is going to be there. The specific sentence you need to hear will stand out, and it's going to be there for you. So, yes, there's a way to have a conversation. There is a way to communicate with them, but we have to be very specific. Setting frames for all those little steps. And again, this is one version, one way of doing it. There's so many other ways. For example, you don't have to imagine stuff, you don't have to do anything. You take a blank piece of paper, you write a letter to your guide, and leave it in your room where they can spot it. If they come and they see a message, then they will try to give you signs and communicate with you the ways you accept it. But again, lots of techniques, lots of variations. These are just what I go with. But yeah, hope it works.